Okay, good morning, everyone. Today we're going to talk about distributing the bread to guests, as well as making a hefsek, pausing, and we're making an interruption between the bracha and the actual tasting of the bread itself. So, page 385. The Shulchan Aruch writes, "Habotzia notein prusa lifnei kol achad," that a person, after they cut the actual bread and they distributed it, should be placed down properly in front of everyone. Ve'echad notel prusa biyado, and you hand it to the person. Ve'ena botzia notin biyado ochel ela im kein haya avel. But however, you don't actually place it into the hand of the person. You just distribute it to them. You don't give it to a person's hand. Interesting. You put it just in front of them. Why? Based on the pasuk, Parshat Tzion biyadeha, that the pasuk in Eicha says that you distribute, right, Tzion biyadeha, to the Tzion's hand. That's obviously talking about the Churban, and it says the Rama remez le poreses hamotzi shenotim biyado b'shas avelus, that only in Avel you actually give it to their hand. Everyone else you put it down in front of them. Lifnei kol echad. Says the Mishabura, Habotzea notain, Aval lo yizrog chatichot hamotza shuchel lifnei. You shouldn't, no touchdown throwing, no passing, no punting. That's not appropriate to distribute bread that way. Afilu im lo nemais hamachal des. Even if you're not worried that the bread's going to be ruined or get destroyed or fall in someone else's soup or their wine. No, it's just not considered appropriate.
What about sliding to get from under the table?
Yeah, so I guess sliding it would be okay. It's not throwing. I guess there's more bizayon, a disgrace if a person throws it. That's the Kivan Shiprusas Hamotza Biza. It's a biza of the mitzvah. If it's an Avel, Shabbos Parasav Kadarko. But this is important. In Avel, however, on Shabbos you do it regularly. Because otherwise you're doing publicly acknowledging his avelus, and on Shabbos there is no public avelus. It's only private avelus on Shabbos. Because bad mazel if you, shall we say, hand it to a person's hand. Says
I don't quite understand that. What's so different about this one for an Avel?
Again, it's based on a pasuk that they quote from Eicha. The Rama says.
No, but what is this? Why? What is he saying?
I guess in Avel you feel nebuch. You're an Avel. Here, let me give it to your hand, right? That's it. Like an nebuch. You're an Avel.
It doesn't matter. So what they're saying is it doesn't matter. Just go with normal protocol.
Right, which is I guess placed in front of them. Right. Now, interesting though, says the Piskei Tshuva, however, where's the source? He says this source of not handing it to a person because it has a remez for an avelus. He says the Gama Pusuk Movi Baramal. He says Einu b'medrash ella. It's from the Avud Raham, which is a much later source. The Kfar Kasaf had the Rashba b'Tshuvasa al Minhag Zeh Shalo Litin Prusa Biyad Zeh Midiver Chacham Hu Lahem Bevadai. Umakor Yadua Hayali Bazev V'Shachdeh. Forgot him. Yes, if I find it, I will send it to you. That's interesting. So I guess the Rashba says, I know there's a source somewhere. I can't find it. If I find the source, he writes in the Tshuva, says the Rashba, I'll send you the source. But that's the source. Meaning it's not a medrash. It's not a Gemara that we don't hand things. We don't hand bread to people. But nonetheless, he says that's what we do. And then he says, other people say, V'yeshikatu shekevan she'enu b'divrei Chazal ela mimosri chachamei adoros b'tkufas harambam v'lefanav lachem b'makom shenogim shelo lakbirakin nosin meprusa b'yad lo kapdonim b'hadai ve'ein bazeh mishum ishram chas v'shalom. So he says the Piskei Tshuva actually write that if it's a place where they don't have this minhag, it wouldn't be considered bad mazel to actually hand it to them. So he says it's a place that has the minhag, so then you keep the minhag. If it's a place that does not have a minhag, then it would not be a problem of bad mazel if you handed it to them. The standard practice is, I think, not to hand it, but I'm not quite sure what the...
So it all depends on mazel, whether you believe that mazel is associated with the bread.
Yeah, so I get so it appears not if mazel's in the bread, it appears what's what's considered the custom of the place, and the custom of the place is considered. Oh yeah, that's only we'll do that for an avel. We'll do that.
Yeah, okay, fine.
So,
got it.
Okay, and just to conclude this topic, hefsek. What's the hefsek? Says the Rambam. Kol brachos kulan lo yafsik ben bracho ben hadavar shmavarchin alav b'divrim acher. We know that you shouldn't make a hefsek. You make a bracha, you have to do the action, right?
Yeah.
Hanukkah candles, right? Yeah. Make the bracha, you light. Make the bracha, you shake, right?
You shake. Yeah.
Mim hefsek. Tzarich lasol v'asher sheni. If you do make hefsek, you have to repeat the bracha. Vim hifsik b'dvarim shehein me'inun dvarim shemevarchin alav no tzarich levarach sheni. But however, if you're talking about pass the salt, well, salt has to do with the context of obviously what we're doing, so therefore you wouldn't need to make another bracha.
What about in between al netilat yadayim and hamotzi?
So also you can't make hefsek, right?
So what's the definition of hefsek?
Okay, so he's gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Okay, so he says, "Kigon sheberach hapas v'kodem sheyochal." That's so you make a brach on the bread, hamotzach min haaretz, and before you eat, you say, "Heviu melach." I need the salt. Heviu tavshel. Tunu lefoni lechol. Tunu lemachal lebehimav. Kitzeh be'elu eino tzarach levar shenis. Anything that's connected to food, and it's connected to this bread, and it's connected to any one of those things that would not be considered a hefsek. Now, says the Shulchan Aruch, we'll see other things. Yochal miyav lo yasech ben bracha la'achila. You shouldn't talk between the bracha and eating. V'im sach v'did talk. Tzarech l'asor varach, unless it has to do with something else. Now, jump down to the Ramah, because essentially the Shulchan Aruch just quotes a Rambam that we just read. Go down 3 lines, please. Mikol makom lechatchila lo yafsi klal. Says that it doesn't mean that it's a mutter, that it's something which is encouraged. Oh, pass the salt. No, ideally you should talk it up
before.
Exactly, and everything should be ready and prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next, go down to, and by the way, even the people who are listening to the bracha, if they're not making their own hamotzi, they also can't talk, right? Until
talking is one thing.
Until they eat themselves.
What about hand motions and grunts? And
okay, so he says, hang on, good question.
That kind of stuff.
We'll get there, hang on. Hey, how you doing, man? Yeah, good one. I thought he speaks about it. Give me a second. He says, once you do bulia, once you swallow a little bit, then you'll be allowed to talk.
Yeah, obviously talking is that we know is a hefsek, but like, what about mumbling?
Oh, here we go. Kemosha asur, the next paragraph. Kemosha asur lafsik bedibur ben bracha lachila, kachlo yafsik lechatchila bepualot achirim. There you go. You cannot do any other actions like shtika aruka or halicha makom makom. What does this mean? It says Mishabur. He's going to explain. Yochal miyad. You make the bracha, you should eat. Lechatchila asur lafsik b'shtika yoter b'chdei dibur. Look at that. Really, you shouldn't even be. So a person makes the bracha motz lachem min haaretz.
Shouldn't be
eat.
Yeah, or you cut it. Like,
right, you need to eat right away. Even you shouldn't be silent. Even silence perhaps could be a problem. And says the Piskei Tshuva, a good place to end off for the section. You want to tell somebody, you want to wave at somebody, right? Well, that's a pula shenil tzarach, waving at somebody, right?
Does that also count after you do on the netilat yadayim?
Ideally, you shouldn't communicate. Communication also could be a mini hefsek, for sure. That's also important. You cut, you eat for yourself, and then you cut for the rest of the mesubin.
That's the whole thing with you have to wait until the guy who cuts eats first.
Exactly, right.
So he's the one who made the bracha, he's the one who made it.
So what you want to do is that you want to cut for yourself. Again, this is usually much more of a Shabbos thing. Usually on a Tuesday we don't do such behaviors, right? So shouldn't walk around. They actually swallow. And even you should even go 2 steps. 2 amma, whatever, 3 steps. No, if it's clearly a tzorach achila, you want to maybe get to the bread. You want to go, I mean, this is strange. And you run outside, that would be a problem. Okay, fine. You should definitely avoid doing such things. So any actions or walking, even cutting more bread, everything really should be pushed aside. Make the bracha, eat, put in your mouth, swallow, and then you would be able to communicate and be able to talk and cut other challahs or other bread, whatever the case may be. That's definitely the ideal procedure. And Mr. Hashem, next week we're going to talk about what is the halachic definition of bread, which is a fun topic because we deal with pizza and we deal with bagels and all the like. Okay, have a great day.